Welcome down the rabbit hole, friends.
I'm kidding. We're just having a conversation with Isabelle.
We already, okay, cool.
This is exciting. Are you ready?
So,
I'm ready.
Tony and McKelty have certainly delivered on their Patreon page. They promised an interview with Isabelle Brown. 9 out of 10 Browns agree that Isabelle is a shining star in the family, who seemingly gets along with pretty much everyone. Gwen specifically said, everyone loves Isabelle. I was excited to see the interview, and I'm going to share some tidbits from it here now with you. During the interview, Tony specifically said to Isabelle, don't share more than you're willing to share. It's about what you're comfortable with. You don't have to worry about our Patreon or what people want from you. And I believe that's so true. This is about these kids' lives. It's their reality, and they only have to share as much as they feel comfortable with. But I really enjoyed hearing what Isabelle had to say and her take on polygamy. I wonder if you guys can hear that we have so many fireworks going off all night tonight because of Chinese New Year. But anyway, Tony asked Isabelle, does she feel like polygamy can work?
In some cases, I think very rarely it works out beautifully. And polygamy for some people is a beautiful thing. And I think we were raised, we are very close to our siblings. And I love all of them very much. And I think that's a beautiful thing to absolutely be best friends with your siblings and all of them too. I think that's incredible. However, it really does take a village to raise kids. It really does. I think that the village that we had, however, polygamy maybe isn't the best route. Maybe join a different cult or anything else. But it's not something that would ever interest me. Because I would hate to think that the person that I marry would have to find something else in somebody else.
Right, that's something that the Sisterwives talk about on the show, that none of them can be everything for their husband. So that's one of the reasons why Cody needs to have multiple wives. And Isabelle basically says, why couldn't I be everything for my husband? If he's supposed to be everything for me, then shouldn't it be a two-way street?
Because they couldn't find it in me. Why can't I have everything that you would need?
okay.
Because you have everything that I need. So why can't I have everything that you need?
Isabelle goes on to reiterate that she doesn't think living polygamy will ever be for her.
I don't think it's something that would ever make me happy. Ever.
So you wouldn't, per se, recommend it to your kids?
Oh, God, no. No.
Would you discourage your kids from it?
I think I would tell them what I knew and hope that they would find out what they know. I'll tell them what I know, and I hope that they would go off and discover what they know. Take resources and make sure they read about it or whatever, but don't just take my word for it, but I hope that they would take heed to my warning.
It's interesting. Now that someone like Isabelle has left polygamy, I wonder what would really lead her child to then rejoin it 20 years later. I find that really interesting. Would it be because Isabelle and McKelty and the other kids, even though they're not joining polygamy or the AUB, they plan to still grow up around people who are part of that system, so there would be a higher chance that their kids would know about it and get involved in it? I just find that a very interesting question.
So are you happy that your mom isn't part of polygamy anymore?
I am. I hope that doesn't ruffle any feathers with anybody, but...
No, it's all you.
Yeah.
So far, all of Christine's kids are saying, look, they're really happy that her mom left Cody. One of my favorite things about this interview is that Isabelle addresses her feelings about being a woman in polygamy who isn't the first wife and what that means for you.
I don't think it's fair.
Do you feel like polygamy is unfair to the women in this situation?
Yes. How much work mom had to do to make sure that she would be financially stable after dad is ridiculous. In normal situations of monogamy, that never would have been the case because the husband would have had to support the woman afterwards. But no, No.
They weren't legally married.
No. So like the women who aren't legally married to like the husband are effed. They literally are. And it's so sad. It's so sad. And it shouldn't be that way.
Wow, I am so surprised to hear one of the kids say it, to speak out and say, look, my mom, and Isabelle literally says, was effed by the fact that dad doesn't have to continue to take care of her after she leaves, like that may have happened in a monogamous relationship if they were married. Because there would be some like spousal support or child support that would be required, and it's not now. It's so good to finally hear one of the kids say that. Christine worked really hard as a homemaker for all those years, and it kills me that now she'll probably have to work even harder, continuing to take care of her young child truly at home while also being the breadwinner. That's not right. Isabelle even acknowledges that it leaves women in polygamy feeling scared to leave their husband when they're in a really bad situation. Don't think I didn't notice that Mary wasn't willing to give up her title as legal wife until her child was set and ready to go to college.
And also I think that women just don't really, it's just like a fear-based community. It's like they're so afraid. And I think women are more afraid than they should be, and that's just so sad.
So sad, and really they should be afraid because they don't have the same legal rights as a typical wife would have. Isabelle goes on to talk about how it's kind of hard to quantify and qualify like what's going to happen with the family and all of the different moms and children now, because she basically says it's like there's no rule book for divorce in polygamist families.
It could be called that too, but I think it's like just hard because I don't know, after the divorce we didn't know how to go about it, just because like divorce and polygamy is like there's no book on it.
It's kind of taboo too.
Yeah, there's no book on divorce and polygamy. There's nothing that you could read about that would like give you helpful hints, or like nothing on it. And like what there is, it's like the women who like have divorced are like discarded, and they're like not even a part of the group, and like they're like ostracized. It's like they're not good people. Like we talk badly about the women who leave.
Wow, this is definitely some of the stuff I've been interested in knowing about. Isabelle isn't just talking about her own family. She's letting us know what happens in the AUB and in polygamy whenever a woman wants to do something different than what's been established for her, the path that she's been given, the family that she's been married into. Isabelle lets us know, like, it's not an easy world for a woman.
Polygamy, like they don't have good connotations. And so it was just something so uncomfortable and something that none of us were really used to. And so I don't think any of us, like the moms, the kids, nobody knew how to go about it. And so I think maybe we didn't go about it in the best way. However, I wish that there was still a relationship with everybody. Unfortunately, in divorce,
Isabelle goes on to say that of course she still has a tight relationship with her mom and then also with Janelle, that she really loves like Robin and Mary, but just feels like they've kind of like drifted apart. Mary because she's kind of doing her own thing, and then Robin, she says like there's kind of a wall between them, but it's not necessarily something that Robin did. It's just the difficulty of being in a family that is reorganizing itself.
Anyways, yeah, it's hard, but I do ultimately just love everybody.
It's a good stance. Divorce is hard, and this is divorce times a lot.
Yeah. On steroids.
Yeah. That's tough. Well, I want to take a quick second to thank our patrons.
Thank you.
I will link McKelty and Tony's Patreon below. There is so much more to the interview than what I'm sharing here, and you can check it out on their Patreon.
If it does get spicy, we can get spicy.
Here's the first question. This is from Victoria. She said, how did she, Isabelle, feel about Cody not coming to her surgery,
I knew this was going to happen,
but doing lots of other things during COVID?
Well, what happened was, so my dad did not come to the surgery, and that was really sucky. That was sad. And I think ultimately it just made me sad. I think that's the best way to describe it. It was unfortunate, but it did happen, and so it's why I dwell on the past. So.
I will forever be so furious with Cody for Isabel. And if I was Christine, I would have been an absolute wreck. I can't believe that he wouldn't go with her to this literally life-altering, dangerous, extremely painful surgery. I've been in children's hospitals with kids as they recover from this, and it is like one of the hardest things to see a child, usually a teenager, go through. Ugh, F Cody. And Robin, because she should have made his lazy ass go. Okay, so there is plenty more to the interview. Isabel talks about her life, like living with Maddie down in North Carolina, and why she decided to move back to Utah. She also talks about like her favorite things about being in a polygamous family and her least favorite things. There's just so much going on with the interview. I thought it was really good to hear some critical thinking, like feedback about the way that polygamy has affected these kids more so than just their specific family. Like it really is about the system in which their parents decided to raise them in. So I find that really interesting. And yeah, I was like excited to watch this interview. I know many people are kind of coming down on Mykelti and Tony. They want them to speak out, I think, more honestly and like using critical thinking skills about their parents. But everybody has a right to say what they want to say and only share as much as they feel comfortable with. Thank you so much for joining me down this interesting rabbit hole. I hope to see you again down my next rabbit hole.